First contact gone wrong. The first time humanity met aliens, they smiled. The second time, humanity bared its teeth. The colony ship Odysseus drifted through the void between stars, its massive habitation rings slowly rotating to generate gravity for the 10,000 colonists in cryostasis. Captain Elena Vasquez floated in the observation dome, her dark eyes reflecting the distant pinprick of Ta Ceti, humanity's newest frontier. After 2 centuries of exploring our solar system, mankind was finally reaching for the stars. "Captain, we're picking up an anomaly." Lieutenant Kaido's voice crackled through her earpiece. "Energy readings unlike anything in our database." Vasquez pushed off from the viewing port, propelling herself toward the command deck. "Natural phenomenon. Negative. The pattern suggests artificial origin. It's moving, Captain." Vasquez felt a chill run down her spine. After generations of searching, humanity had dreamed of this moment. First contact. Alert status yellow. "Wake the first contact team," she ordered, her voice steady despite the hammering of her heart. "Let's make history, people." Within hours, the anomaly resolved itself into a vessel of obvious artificial design. Its sleek hull gleamed with a metal unknown to Earth science, flowing in organic curves that defied human architectural sensibilities. The ship was beautiful, alien, and terrifying all at once. "They're broadcasting," Communications Officer Chen announced, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "It's not radio. Some kind of modulated tachyon burst." "Can we respond in kind?" Vasquez asked. "Negative, but our AI is analyzing the pattern. It appears to be a mathematical sequence, prime numbers." Vasquez smiled. "Universal language. Respond with the next numbers in the sequence." For 3 days, the Odysseus and the alien vessel exchanged increasingly complex messages. Slowly, painfully, a rudimentary translation matrix formed. The aliens called themselves the Varaxians, representatives of an ancient civilization that spanned hundreds of star systems. Dr. Elijah Okonkwo, head of the first contact team, practically vibrated with excitement. "Captain, they're inviting a delegation aboard their vessel. This is unprecedented. It's also potentially dangerous," Security Chief Ramirez countered. "We know nothing about them or their intentions." Vasquez considered their options. "The UN Charter is clear. We represent all of humanity. This first impression will shape our species' future for generations." In the end, a 5-person team prepared to board the Varaxian ship. Dr. Okonkwo, 2 xenolinguists, a xenobiologist, and Security Chief Ramirez. Vasquez watched from the command deck as the shuttle departed, carrying humanity's representatives into history. "Keep an open channel," she ordered. "At the first sign of trouble, Captain." Lieutenant Kaido's voice cut through the tension. "Multiple energy signatures appearing at the edge of our sensor range." Vasquez snapped to attention. "Identify." 7. No, 12 vessels. Similar design to our contact, but larger, much larger. On the main view screen, a flotilla of ships appeared, emerging from what seemed to be tiers in space itself. They moved with impossible grace, surrounding the Odysseus and the original Varaxian vessel. "Our team," Vasquez demanded. Communications Officer Chen shook her head. "Lost contact the moment those ships appeared. Hail them. All frequencies." "No response, Captain." The next moments unfolded with brutal efficiency. The lead Varaxian warship, for they were clearly warships, fired a single pulse of emerald energy that sliced through the Odysseus engine section. Alarms blared as atmosphere vented into space. "Evasive maneuvers," Vasquez shouted, but it was already too late. The colony ship, designed for long-term sustainability rather than combat, was helpless. "Captain, they're targeting the habitation rings," Kaido reported, horror evident in his voice. 10,000 colonists. "Launch the emergency pods," Vasquez ordered. "All of them. Now." As the colony ship disintegrated around them, Automated systems jettisoned hundreds of emergency pods, each containing dozens of cryosleeping colonists. The command crew worked frantically, overriding safety protocols to evacuate as many as possible. Vasquez knew they wouldn't save everyone, not even close. Why? Chen whispered, tears streaming down her face as they watched the beautiful alien vessels methodically destroy humanity's first interstellar colony ship. We were peaceful. Get to your escape pod, Vasquez ordered, pushing the younger officer toward the exit. Someone has to survive to warn Earth. As Vasquez launched the final command pod, she watched through the viewport as the Varaxian ships ignored the fleeing life pods, focusing their fire on the now empty colony ship. The Odysseus folded in on itself, its spinal structure collapsing under the assault. Vasquez's eyes narrowed. Then that's our target. We hit them where they feel safest, demonstrate that nowhere in their territory is beyond our reach. A direct assault on a Varaxian stronghold. Commander Wei looked skeptical. Even with our stealth technology, we'd be outnumbered and outgunned. Not an assault, Vasquez clarified. A surgical strike. We take out their command and control capabilities, extract key intelligence, and disappear before their main fleet can respond. And then, Colonel Martinez asked, then we find these Nixeri and start building alliances, Vasquez replied. Dr. Okonkwo's discovery changes everything. This isn't just about humanity's survival anymore. It's about justice for dozens of species the Varaxians have eliminated. As the meeting adjourned, Vasquez remained in the briefing room, studying the star charts and fleet deployments. They had entered a new phase of the conflict. The silent war was ending, and a more overt struggle was beginning. A message chimed on her personal communicator, a transmission from Earth relayed through their quantum entanglement network. Admiral Tanaka's face appeared, looking more careworn than when she'd last seen him. Elena, he said without preamble, our long-range observers have detected a Varaxian battle group entering the outskirts of our solar system. 6 capital ships, at least 24 support vessels. Vasquez felt her blood run cold. Projected target, Earth. They're coming to finish what they started. Their timing can't be coincidental, Vasquez realized. They must have been planning this move before we revealed ourselves. Tanaka nodded. Our planetary defenses are as ready as they'll ever be, but against a force that size. Hold them off, Hiroshi, Vasquez urged. We have a plan that could change everything, but we need time. How much time? 2 weeks. Maybe 3. Tanaka's expression was grim but determined. We'll give you as much as we can, but don't waste it, Elena. Whatever you're planning had better be worth the lives it will cost to buy you that time. As the transmission ended, Vasquez turned back to the holo display. The Varaxians were moving against Earth while simultaneously hunting her fleet. The next few weeks would determine not just humanity's fate, but potentially the future of numerous other species the Varaxians had targeted. They think they're the predators, she murmured to herself. It's time to show them they've cornered something far more dangerous than they realized. Unexpected allies. The Nixeri system hung like a violet jewel against the blackness of space, its twin suns casting purple-tinged light across the rings of its gas giants. Admiral Vasquez stood on the bridge of the Retribution, her fleet concealed behind the 5th planet's moon. Any response to our transmission? She asked. Communications Officer Pratik Mehta shook his head. Nothing yet, Admiral. We're broadcasting on the frequencies Dr. Okonkwo extracted from the Varaxian database. But, contact. Lieutenant Rodriguez interrupted. Multiple vessels emerging from the inner system. Vasquez tensed. Varaxian signatures. Negative. Configuration unknown. Smaller than our vessels. Scout class. Maybe. They're hailing us. Mehta reported, surprise evident in his voice. Audio and visual. Vasquez straightened her uniform. On screen. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a being unlike any human had seen before. The Nixeri had a vaguely humanoid shape, but their skin shimmered with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed in complex rhythms. 4 large, pupilless eyes dominated a face that seemed to shift subtly as they watched, and delicate tendrils framed their head like a living crown. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the alien spoke, their voice melodic with an almost musical quality. "I am Zalin, first voice of the Nixari Collective. Your arrival is unexpected." Vask stepped forward. "I am Admiral Elena Vasquez of the Earth Defense Fleet. We come seeking alliance against a common enemy." The Nixari's bioluminescent patterns shifted to a deeper blue. "The Varaxians," they stated with certainty. "Your thoughts are focused, determined, full of recent pain." Vasquez felt a strange sensation, like a gentle pressure at the edges of her consciousness. "You're scanning my mind." "Forgiveness." Zalin inclined their head. "The Nixari are empathic telepaths. We do not intrude deeply without permission, but surface emotions are difficult to ignore, like trying not to hear a shout. We understand you've been documenting Varaxian atrocities," Vasquez continued, deciding to address the matter directly. "We have evidence they've been eliminating emerging species across this sector." The patterns on Salin's skin pulsed rapidly. "You have proof. Actual data from Varaxian systems." "We do." Vasquez nodded to Dr. Okonkwo, who stepped into view. Dr. Vivian Okonkwo led the team that extracted this intelligence. As the fleet accelerated toward the edge of the solar system, preparing for their first faster-than-light jump, Vasquez knew they were carrying the hopes of their entire species. The Varaxians had made a critical error when they attacked the Odysseus. They had assumed humanity would cower in fear. Instead, they had awakened a species that refused to go quietly into the night. The Silent War. Admiral Elena Vasquez studied the holographic display of the Varaxian outpost orbiting Barnard's star. The alien station gleamed like a jewel against the darkness, its occupants unaware they were being observed. Surveillance drones confirm minimal defenses, Commander Jianwei reported. "They're not expecting company. They believe we're still licking our wounds in our home system," Vasquez replied. "Let's use that arrogance against them." The human fleet had been operating in stealth for 6 months now, gathering intelligence across a dozen star systems. The Retribution and its sister ships employed technology derived from their limited understanding of Varaxian systems, combined with humanity's own innovations. The result was a fleet that, while not matching Varaxian firepower, could strike from shadows and disappear before retaliation. "Infiltration team is ready, Admiral," Security Chief Diaz announced. "Dr. Okonkwo has finalized the data retrieval protocols." Vasquez nodded. Dr. Vivian Okonkwo had proven invaluable, her determination to understand her father's killers, driving her to master alien linguistics and technology at a pace that astounded even her fellow scientists. "Launch when ready," Vasquez ordered. "And remind the team, intelligence is our primary objective. We need to understand the enemy before we can defeat them." The infiltration shuttle detached from the Retribution, its experimental stealth systems rendering it nearly invisible to Varaxian sensors. The small craft carried a 6-person team, 4 Special Forces operatives, and 2 scientists, including Dr. Okonkwo herself, who had insisted on participating personally. "This is reckless," Commander Wei had argued when Okonkwo proposed joining the mission. "You're too valuable to risk." "No one understands their systems like I do," she countered. "Every minute saved could mean the difference between success and extraction or capture and failure." Now, as the shuttle approached the Varaxian outpost, Vasquez watched the operation unfold with carefully controlled anxiety. Every mission they'd conducted so far had been successful, but they were pushing their luck with each new incursion. "Team is aboard," Diaz reported after an agonizing 20 minutes. "Security systems bypassed. They're proceeding to the central data hub." Vasquez paced the bridge, her hands clasped behind her back. Humanity had been fighting this silent war for almost 3 years now. While the Varaxians believed they had eliminated the human threat with their attack on the Odysseus, Earth had been preparing. Fleets built in secret, technologies developed with desperate innovation, and now, intelligence gathering that would determine their next move. Data extraction in progress, Dias announced. Estimate complete in 15 minutes. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. Multiple ships emerging from FTL, the sensor officer shouted. Varaxian signatures. How many? Vasquez demanded. 3 cruisers, Admiral. They don't appear to be responding to our presence. This might be a scheduled patrol. Vasquez's mind raced. If the patrol detected the infiltration team, not only would the mission fail, but the Varaxians would be alerted to humanity's activities. Their entire strategy depended on the enemy remaining ignorant of their capabilities. Signal the extraction team. They have 5 minutes, she ordered. Prepare for emergency retrieval. Ma'am, Dr. Okonkwo is requesting more time, Dias reported, his expression tense. She says they found something critical. Vasquez swore under her breath. 2 minutes. Not 1 second more. On the station, Vivian Okonkwo worked frantically, her fingers dancing across the alien interface. After months of studying Varaxian technology, she had developed an intuitive understanding of their systems that bordered on prescience. We need to go, Doctor, the team leader urged, his pulse rifle trained on the entrance. Patrol ships are inbound. Almost there, she muttered, eyes fixed on the alien characters flowing across the screen. This is bigger than we thought. The Varaxians, they're not just attacking us. They've been systematically eliminating emerging species across this entire sector. Doctor, now. Okonkwo downloaded the final data packet and disconnected her device. Done. Let's move. The team retreated through the station's curved corridors, moving with practiced precision. As they reached the docking port, the station's alarms activated, bathing the metallic hallways in pulsing crimson light. We've been detected, the team leader announced. Double time. They sprinted the final distance, reaching their shuttle as the first Varaxian security drones rounded the corner. The team's rear guard fired a burst of plasma bolts, destroying the lead drone and buying precious seconds for the others to board. Go, go, go. Okonkwo shouted as she flung herself into the shuttle, the hatch sealing behind her as plasma fire scorched the hull. The shuttle detached from the station, its engines flaring as the pilot pushed them to maximum thrust. Behind them, the Varaxian patrol ships altered course, moving to intercept. Retribution, this is infiltration team. The team leader transmitted. Package secured, but we've been made. Request immediate extraction and diversion. On the bridge of the Retribution, Vasquez made her decision. Bring the fleet to combat readiness. Target the patrol vessel's propulsion systems only. We need to create a window for our people to escape. Admiral, engaging directly will reveal our presence, Commander Wei cautioned. I'm aware, Commander, but I won't sacrifice our people. Vasquez's voice was iron. Execute. The human fleet dropped their stealth fields, revealing themselves to Varaxian sensors. Before the alien vessels could respond, targeted energy weapons struck their engines with surgical precision. The Varaxian ships, caught completely unprepared, tumbled out of control. Infiltration team is away, Dias reported. ETA to rendezvous point. 3 minutes. As soon as they're aboard, jump to emergency coordinates, Vasquez ordered. The Varaxians will send reinforcements once they realize what happened. As the Retribution and its escorts vanished into FTL, leaving the disabled Varaxian patrol behind, Vasquez knew they had crossed a threshold. Until now, their operations had been completely covered. Today, they had revealed themselves, and the Varaxians would respond. In the secure briefing room aboard the Retribution, Dr. Okonkwo presented her findings to the fleet command staff. The holographic display showed star charts, data streams, and intercepted communications, all painting a disturbing picture. The Varaxians have been systematically eliminating emerging spacefaring civilizations for over 300 years, she explained. They identify species with potential for rapid technological advancement and eliminate them before they can establish themselves beyond their home systems. Preemptive genocide, Commander Wei said grimly. Exactly. And here's the critical part. They're doing this without the knowledge or sanction of the Galactic Concordat. Vasquez leaned forward. Explain. The Concordat has strict protocols regarding contact with emerging species. Observation only, until a species develops independent FTL capability. At that point, formal contact is established, and the new species is evaluated for potential membership. But the Varaxians are short-circuiting this process, Colonel Martinez, head of Fleet Intelligence, concluded. Yes, they've been operating a shadow program to eliminate potential competitors before they can join the galactic community, Okonkwo confirmed. And they're not alone. They have allies within the Concordat, species that benefit from maintaining the status quo. And the rest of the Concordat just ignores this. Vasquez asked incredulously. Not exactly. Most species don't know it's happening. Those that suspect something keep quiet, either out of fear or because they benefit indirectly from Varaxian dominance. Colonel Martinez activated a different display, showing the known Varaxian fleet deployments they'd mapped during their covert operations. So we're facing not just the Varaxians, but potentially other Concordat species if we go public with this. Not necessarily, Okonkwo countered. I found references to opposition within the Concordat, species that have been trying to gather evidence of Varaxian violations for centuries. Potential allies, Vasquez mused. Perhaps the most promising is a species called the Nyx-Eri. They're telepathic and highly empathic. They've been documenting Varaxian atrocities, but lack the military strength to challenge them directly. Commander Wei studied the data. We need to contact these Nyx-Eri. If they can provide political cover within the Concordat, it might prevent this from becoming a war against the entire galactic community. Agreed, Vasquez said. But our immediate concern is the Varaxian response to our raid. They know now that we're not as defeated as they thought. Colonel Martinez nodded. They'll increase security across their territory. More patrols, enhanced defenses. And they'll almost certainly dispatch a fleet to finish what they started at Ta City. Then we strike first, Vasquez decided. Dr. Okonkwo, does your data include Varaxian fleet movements and battle plans? Yes, Admiral, including the location of their regional command center in the Procyon system. Vasquez's pod tumbled through space, its emergency beacon broadcasting weakly. As unconsciousness claimed her, one thought burned in her mind. Humanity's first contact had been a massacre. 3 years later, Fleet Admiral Hiroshi Tanaka stood in the secure command center beneath Mount Cheyenne, Earth's last military headquarters. Around him, holographic displays showed the status of humanity's desperate preparations. The Ta City survivors have all been recovered, he asked. General Omar Dhaliwal nodded. The last pod was retrieved 6 months ago. Of the original 10,000 colonists, we recovered just under 4,000. And what have we learned? Enough to know we're in serious trouble, sir, Dr. Vivian Okonkwo replied, her face drawn with grief. She had taken up her father's work after the Odysseus massacre, determined to understand the aliens who had killed him. The Varaxians are part of a galactic community called the Concordat. Dozens of species, hundreds of worlds. And they all want us dead? Tanaka asked. Not exactly. Based on the data Captain Vasquez recovered, the Varaxians acted unilaterally. They're one of the dominant species, but they're not the entire Concordat. So why attack us? Dhaliwal demanded. Dr. Okonkwo activated a holographic display showing the star chart. We believe the Varaxians are engaged in territorial expansion. Several data points suggest they've eliminated other emerging spacefaring races before they could establish themselves. Preventative genocide, Tanaka said flatly. Essentially, yes. They seem to view new species as potential future competitors. Tanaka studied the display, his mind racing. Humanity had barely established itself in its own solar system. The colony ships to Ta Ceti and Proxima Centauri had been humanity's first tentative steps into the galaxy. Now they faced an enemy centuries more advanced, with resources spanning dozens of star systems. Options, he asked simply. We fight, Dhaliwal said immediately. Unified Earth defense has been mobilizing since the first survivors returned. The mining operations in the asteroid belt have been converted to shipyards. Mars and Luna are constructing defensive platforms. With technology centuries behind the Varaxians, Okonkwo pointed out. We have advantages, Dhaliwal countered. The Varaxians don't know how many of us survived or what we recovered from the Odysseus. They clearly don't expect us to be a threat, or they would have followed up with an invasion force. Pride, Tanaka mused. The oldest weakness in any military. They think they've crippled us with a single strike. Exactly. And we've learned their attack wasn't sanctioned by this galactic concordat. They acted alone, possibly in violation of some interstellar law. Tanaka nodded slowly. So we prepare in secret, build our strength, and then, Dhaliwal said grimly, we show them humanity isn't so easily exterminated. For the next 2 years, Earth transformed. Ancient national rivalries were set aside as humanity united against an existential threat. The asteroid belt became a hive of activity as automated factories churned out components for a new kind of fleet. Scientists reverse-engineered what little Varaxian technology had been recovered from debris near Ta Ceti. Elena Vasquez, now Admiral of Earth's first interstellar battle fleet, stood on the bridge of the Retribution, looking out at the gathered armada. 50 ships, each built with a single purpose, to ensure humanity's survival. They weren't as large or as advanced as the Varaxian vessels she had seen destroy the Odysseus, but they carried something the aliens couldn't match. Humanity's desperate ingenuity. Fleet status, she asked. All vessels report ready, Admiral, her executive officer reported. Operation Prometheus is green across the board. Vasquez took a deep breath. 5 years ago, humanity had been an isolated species, taking its first steps into interstellar space with optimism and hope. Now they were preparing for a war they hadn't asked for, against an enemy they barely understood. Very well, she said. Signal all ships. We launch in 30 minutes. As the fleet prepared to depart, Vasquez received one final communication from Earth. Admiral Tanaka's weathered face appeared on her screen. The Security Council has approved the final protocols, he said without preamble. If your mission fails, we will implement the Scorched Earth Directive. The Varaxians will find nothing of value here. Vasquez nodded grimly. Earth would destroy itself rather than fall into Varaxian hands. Such was the desperate calculus of species survival. We won't fail, she promised. The Varaxians believe they've seen humanity at its weakest. It's time they learned what happens when they push us to our limits. Then you must come planet-side immediately, Zalin said urgently. For centuries, we have tried to convince the Galactic Concordat of the Varaxians' crimes. Without direct evidence, we have been dismissed as paranoid or biased. Your arrival may change everything. We accept your invitation, Vasquez replied. But there's more you should know. The Varaxians have dispatched a battle fleet to our home system. Earth is under attack as we speak. Zelen's tendrils flattened against their head. A gesture of distress, Vasquez guessed. Then there is no time to waste. You will be provided landing coordinates. Bring your evidence and your highest commanders. The collective must hear this directly. As the transmission ended, Commander Wei approached Vasquez. Are we certain this isn't a trap, Admiral? We know very little about the Nixari beyond what was in the Varaxian database. The Varaxians classified them as a persistent nuisance, Dr. Okonkwo pointed out. That suggests they've been a thorn in the Varaxians' side for some time. Besides, Vasquez added, if they wanted to betray us, they could have simply alerted the Varaxians to our presence. Instead, they're inviting us to their homeworld. She turned to her executive officer. Prepare a delegation. You have command of the fleet while we're planetside, Commander. If anything goes wrong, we'll be ready to extract you or provide support, Wei assured her. As the shuttle descended through the Nyx-Eri atmosphere, Vasquez looked out at the alien landscape below. Sprawling cities built of crystalline structures caught the purple light of the twin suns, refracting it into cascades of color. Unlike human urban centers, these cities seemed to grow organically from the landscape, integrated with the natural features rather than imposed upon them. Beautiful, Dr. Okonkwo murmured. Their architecture suggests a fundamentally different relationship with their environment than humanity developed. The shuttle landed on a platform extending from a towering spire at the center of the largest city. A delegation of Nyx-Eri awaited them, their skin patterns shifting in synchronized waves that Vasquez suspected was a form of communication. Zalin stepped forward as the humans disembarked. Welcome to Nyx-Eri, homeworld of the collective. The Council of Voices awaits you. The humans were led through soaring halls where the walls themselves seemed alive with shifting patterns of light. The effect was disorienting but oddly soothing, as if the very architecture was designed to calm and focus the mind. The council chamber was a vast, circular room with a domed ceiling that revealed the purple sky above. 12 Nyx-Eri sat in a semicircle, their tendrils gently undulating as they observed the human delegation. The humans bring evidence of that which we have long suspected, Zalin announced to the council. The systematic elimination of emerging species by the Varaxian Imperium. At elder Nyx-Eri, their skin patterns more muted than the others, spoke with a voice like wind through crystal. Let us see this evidence. Dr. Okonkwo stepped forward, activating the holographic projector she had brought. The chamber filled with displays showing Varaxian military logs, communication records, and star charts marking the locations of species they had contained. Their euphemism for genocide. Over the past 300 years, Okonkwo explained, the Varaxians have eliminated at least 27 species that were on the verge of developing interstellar travel. Their stated rationale is preservation of galactic stability. But the data reveals their true motive: elimination of potential economic and military competitors. The council observed in silence as the evidence unfolded before them. Vasquez noticed their skin patterns shifting to darker hues, anger, perhaps, or grief. And now they move against your world, the elder Nyx-Eri stated. Yes, Vasquez confirmed. A battle fleet is currently engaging our defensive forces in our home system. We came here seeking allies, not just for our own survival, but to expose the Varaxians' crimes to the Galactic Concordat. You seek justice, another council member observed, their patterns pulsing rapidly. Not merely vengeance. We want to survive, Vasquez replied honestly. But we've learned that we're not the first species the Varaxians have targeted, nor will we be the last if they're allowed to continue unchecked. The elder Nyx-Eri's tendrils extended fully, quivering slightly. For centuries, we have gathered what evidence we could, but the Varaxian influence within the Concordat has prevented any meaningful action. With your data, combined with our own records, we may finally force the Concordat to acknowledge these crimes. Then you'll help us? Vasquez asked. We will do more than that, Zalin replied. We will join you in battle. Murmurs rippled through both the human delegation and the Nyx-Eri Council. One of the council members rose, their patterns flashing with what seemed like alarm. The collective has maintained neutrality for generations, they protested. Our fleet is designed for defense and exploration, not offensive warfare. And yet, the elder responded, we have watched as species after species vanished from the stars. Our neutrality has become complicity through inaction. They turned to Vasquez. The Nyx-Eri fleet is yours to command, Admiral. But there is something more we can offer, something that may prove far more valuable. What's that? Vasquez asked. Knowledge, the elder replied. The Varaxians have kept their secrets well, but the Nyx-Eri have ways of gathering information that even they cannot detect. We know their tactical doctrines, their command structures, and most importantly, their weaknesses. Vizsla stepped forward. The Varaxians believe themselves invulnerable because of their technological superiority. But their psychology makes them vulnerable. They are hierarchical to a fault, eliminate their command structure, and their forces fall into disarray. We've observed that in our limited engagements, Vask is acknowledged, but their command ships are always the most heavily defended. Yes, the Elder nodded, but they have a flaw, a critical